Welcome back from break. Jeff, let's have some baseball talk here. Let's bring on hitting coach for the Jersey Shore BlueClaws, former Philly, Brock Stassi. Brock, how you doing today?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me.
We appreciate you giving us the time. It's funny. We'll talk baseball in a sec, but you're like a baseball lifer with your family. I looked it up. Your dad, your grandfather, your great grandfather played. Your brother played. Talk about the family culture that is baseball. It seems like for you guys.
Yeah, it's just kind of grew up around the game. My dad was a high school baseball coach for about 20 years. Like you mentioned, his dad played, and then great uncle Merle Hogue played for the Yankees back in the day as well. Was actually teammates with Babe Ruth, which is some pretty cool family history. Yeah, just kind of grew up around the game and took a liking to it as a young kid. And the cool thing is, like, our dad never really forced it upon us. It was just kind of what we gravitated to as young kids.
Brock, we had the opportunity to kind of see you grow up through the Philly system, and that moment when you were told that you were going to make the major leagues. What was it like when your coach called you in and told you that you were going to be called up to the Phillies?
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, it was yeah, I cried like a little baby the whole that time. It was I tried calling both my parents, but they were working, so they didn't answer. And Scott Palmer, the media relations guy for the team, came out and grabbed me when I was in the hallways, like, "Hey, they want to do some interviews." And so that was really like the first time I was able to get it off my chest, and everything kind of hit me all at once. All the hard work, the long bus rides, the grinding through the minor leagues, kind of all came to, like, once I started to actually talk about it with the media. So yeah, it was just a whirlwind of emotions and just something that I'd wanted ever since I was a kid.
All right. Well, every baseball player that we ever have on here mentions the long bus rides. What is the best story you have of your minor league time and going through those long bus rides?
And he played
Oh
in the
man.
Cape Cod League, Jeff. So he's got some stories, I'm sure.
Well, the Cape bus rides were easy. Excuse me, because we stay. I mean, you have host families, but you got to sleep in the same bed every single night. I did a summer in the Northwoods League, and that was more like minor league baseball, where it was like we had a couple 10-hour bus rides, 8-hour bus rides, stuff like that. So those were tough. But I mean, last time I was in this league, which was 2012, it wasn't the same. Our shortest bus ride was 4 hours, and we made a trip down to Augusta, Georgia. And it's funny because it's South Atlantic League, and, like, that's very, very south. It was we left Lakewood. We left Lakewood at midnight after a game and stopped for breakfast somewhere, and the bus driver had to change because they're only allowed to drive 10 hours. So that was probably the craziest bus ride that I ever had. But now with the realignment the past couple years, the travel's so much easier in this league and so much more manageable. But yeah, I mean, just a specific one, I wouldn't say it was the best. It was probably the worst. It was my first year in Williamsport. We were playing Brooklyn, and our bus actually got in a crash on the way home, and we were kind of hanging over a guardrail.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was definitely the worst experience on the bus right there. And we got lucky that we didn't teeter over, because it was like probably a 40-foot drop down to a freeway. So
Well,
yeah, that was wild.
not that experience in particular, but how does the experiences, having gone through this, having had those long bus rides and gone through the struggle and the journey up from the bottom up to the big leagues, help you now relate as a hitting coach for these guys there at Jersey Shore?
I think it helps a lot because I've been through it. I kind of have a unique story that I was a senior signed. Didn't I always tell this story? I lost 40% of my signing bonus the first night I got it at the Mohegan Sun in Connecticut. And and I've told that to a few reporters, and they're like, "What? What? Do you have a problem?" And I'm like, "No, I signed for $1,000, and I lost $400 at a blackjack table the night I got it." Yeah. And so, being a late pick, not breaking camp my first year, and being an extended the whole time as a 20, I think I was 22 which is older for extended spring training. I was playing with a lot of first year, guys coming over from Dominican, from Venezuela, high school kids. Um, and then working my way up to Lakewood later that year, and then hitting every stop here. In 2013, I was the in Clearwater, which was high A back then. I was the third first baseman and fifth outfielder, so I was playing like once a week, and just I had to earn every opportunity that I got was earned. So just being able to relate to all different kinds of backgrounds is what I think really helps me. And then doing my stints of winter ball in Venezuela and Mexico, understanding where where our Latin American players come from, and how they go about different things. I think that helps break the ice a lot quicker with those guys as well. So just using my past experiences from all different aspects of the game has been beneficial.
What's the difference between your time coming up in the minors and what it is now?
There's a lot of differences. Back when I was coming up, we now there's no clubhouse dues. So you'd get your meal money and you'd have to pay clubhouse dues back then, and it'd be like, okay, here's my meal money that I got. There's some. There wasn't meals provided. It was you'd get one post game meal. It was a lot of PB and J until you got up to Double A or Triple A. So the food situation, the living is all covered now. Guys are in furnished apartments, so there's no longer stories of when I was in Clearwater that year, we had 9 guys in a 3-bedroom apartment. One guy was on an air mattress in the kitchen, another guy was in the walk-in closet. So it's a lot different. We get to travel in 2 buses now instead of 1, so a lot more space on the bus and stuff like that. There's a lot of differences, but they're all for the better. Honestly, they're all for you know organizations are investing in the player in every aspect now, not just the on-field stuff. They want these guys to be able to perform on a nightly basis, and they're providing the tools for them to do so. So it's really cool to see.
You didn't just get called up. You
We've
made
heard so many stories about that. I think that house with the 9 people. Who are your teammates, and how do you decide who gets the garage?
Oh man, um, it was like shoot. It would filter through because guys would get moved up and sent down all the time. But it was like Bob Stumpo, Carlos Alonso, Chris Saratello was another one. Matt Tolbert, who played in the big leagues, and he was like on a rehab stint for like a month and a half that year in high A. There was just guys from all different. Mario Hollins, he was in there too. Um, it's just kind of whoever you know wants to pay a little more rent maybe gets a bed, and then if you don't want to pay as much, here's go get an air mattress, and maybe you get cut a little break on some of that.
Jeff. That's what we heard when we were down in Clearwater years ago when we were doing our minor league show from the guys too. It's whoever pays a little more rent gets a bed. Whoever else
Exactly.
gets an air mattress.
Exactly.
When you got called up, you were able to be there and make your debut on opening day. Was that a little
Mhm.
extra special to be a part of those festivities in the big leagues? To like, no, you arrived, you made it.
Yeah, yeah. Opening day, especially it being in Cincinnati, where it's like I believe it's a holiday, and I don't know if it's still the case where they still open up at home every single year. That was incredible. It was a sold out crowd, the anthem, and then the flyover. It gave me goosebumps and still gives me goosebumps to this day. And yeah, that was pretty special.
Well, you're now the hitting coach for the Jersey Shore Blue Claws. Have you noticed a difference, or do you have to take a different approach with this group of hitters now that there have been the major league changes, especially with regard to the shift?
Oh, like defense. Not too much. I think it's just like the ever evolving aspect of hitting and stuff, and we go about it a lot different than what we used to. So it used to just be a lot of tee work, flips, kind of easy stuff, a lot of mechanical stuff, and now it's more so how can we make it harder, like a little bit harder than the game. So we do a lot of machine work. We do a lot of there's these foam balls that have all the pitchers now are trying to pitch at the top of the zone and have they're throwing harder than ever, and so it's how do we combat that, and the only way we can combat that is by stepping up our training aspect of it and getting after it that way. So it's been that adjustment period, and yeah, it's been paying off so far. I've been really happy with the way the guys have been swinging the bat.
I just wanted to ask about the competition between you and your brother. Your brother is with the Angels now.
Mhm.
Talk to us. I mean, you guys have raised money off of that competition with homers for the hungry.
Yeah.
You've supported high school efforts. Talk about the ability for you both to play, but also the competition that you guys have had growing up with this.
Yeah, it's fun. It was back when he I believe he'd already been a big, but we did it a few years. We did a home run derby, and we had a great group of people that helped us put it on, and yeah, it was nice to be able to give back to our hometown of Yuba City, California, and just the coolest part was being able to take the checks to the homeless shelters that we donated to and see how big of a difference that made. So, but yeah, it was fun to get out there and compete against him. And our dad threw the BP during the home run derby, so that was also cool to have him out there and be a part of it as well.
You're the epitome of patience, working your way through the system, getting your way to the minor league to major leagues. What do you tell the young players that you see today? I mean, you're seeing guys that are 18, 19, 20 years old who want to get to the majors as quickly as possible, probably want to take as many shortcuts as they can to get
Mm.
there. As a coach, what do you impart to them from your own experience?
Yeah, I mean, it's everybody obviously wants to keep moving up each level, and it's easy to get caught up in what's somebody doing, at the same position ahead of you that's in ready now. Um, so I really try and preach them be where their feet are and treat Jersey Shore like it's Citizens Bank Park, and just make this your big leagues and make the most of it. Don't get caught up in what's going on above you or below you. Um, and that was something early in my career I got caught up in. Oh man, what's this guy in first base doing at this level? What's this guy doing at that level? And it was honestly a waste of time. And when I was able to sit down with one of our old mental skills coaches that was here when I was coming up through the system, that was his big thing, was like treat where you are like it's your big leagues, and enjoy every single day, and enjoy the ups and enjoy the downs as well. So that's really what I try and preach to them is be where your feet are.
You had the opportunity to work with Dusty Wathan. We're huge fans of his. What did you learn from him that you're kind of taking into your next career as a coach, and what made him such a good manager?
Yeah, Dusty was a man. He was, I got to play for him in all of 14, all of 15, and then a little bit in 17 when I went to Lehigh. Um, the demeanor that he came with every single day. Because in 14 in Reading, we had a stretch I think where we lost 13 games in a row, and we had a pretty rough year in 14. But he was the same guy. He was always ready to work. Always put the player first, which was awesome. And then in 15, we had a really good club and ended up making it to the championship series that year. And he was the same guy, even 14 and 15. No matter the circumstances, no matter where we were in the standings, he was about putting the player first. And so that's the mindset, the attitude that I try and bring each and every day. Like, we lost last night, got beat pretty good, and it's like, okay, like, how can I continue to be positive and bring energy and be upbeat for the guys, because players can sense when you panic, when you're panicking, and when you get down and stuff like that. So it's like, just trying to be the same guy every day. And I actually had a cool conversation with one of the position players in the dugout the other night. We had to use a position player in the ninth inning, and guys were laughing and joking around about it. And he was like, "How do you feel as a coach?" And I'm like, the game is too hard and the season's too long. And if we were having to do this every single night, then it'd be like, okay, like, this is getting old, guys. We need to make some adjustments. But it was a one-off thing, and we've been playing really well lately. And so it's like, let have fun, keep it lighthearted. So yeah, that's the attitude that I try and bring each and every day, which I learned a lot from Dusty.
Well, we wish you continued success working with the players now in your new role, and appreciate you giving us some time. Look forward to seeing what you do.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.